Hi everyone, this is one of our videos on brand books, company brand books. So I was going to say straight away up front, it's not about company guidelines, great though they are, that's all the design, the colors, photography, illustration, all those lovely things, that's later. Brand books, brand bibles, brand business plan, whatever you want to call them, are the fundamental building block for everything that follows, including designing logos, websites, all those things, press releases, adverts, videos. They all should feedback and build on some basic rules. If they're not all following the same rules, you end up with a very disparate, a brand that isn't coherent. So they're something that we take a lot of pride in here. And just to say that we've learned our trade on big brands. So Coca-Cola, Ariel, they all have this process. They all have these rule books in place because they have thousands and thousands of people working on their brand, and it could go to an absolute mess very quickly. So we've taken that in our agency. We've taken those big cumbersome processes, squashed them down into something really tight, really sharp that delivers a really useful document. So without further ado, I'm going to get in. I'm going to just walk through one we've done recently for a cyber security firm and tell you what's involved. So funny enough, there's a welcome page here. This company were really, really proud of this by the time they've been through the process. And just so you know, the process really involves speaking to everyone in the company, or at least a broad section of people in the company. Probably some desk research and looking at competitors and the marketplace and all that, but we'll get into that in a minute. That's the outline of the process. Then there's a couple of workshops with the client to make sure that they're totally comfortable with the book, and we come out with something that everyone agrees with, everyone signed up to, and we can all follow. And it makes everything, all the work we do later, that much easier. So nice little welcome page here, just saying, you know, this is a document we've taken great care over, it's close to our heart, etc., etc. And they make sure that everyone who joins the company reads it, everyone who works on their brand reads it. So as with any sort of great plan in life, we need an objective. We need to know where we're going. Now, that's not for us as the agency to write. That's for client business to write. Just needs to be a big goal. It might be we're going into a new market. We want to conquer Australia. We want to, you know, conquer the SME market, whatever it is, or just a big number. In these guys, their real business objectives would be the #1 AppSec consultancy. And a vision, you know, just to be clear on visions, vision should be a vision of the world when your work is, quote, done. All right. So their vision is a world in which collaborative work in this sector is seen as the safest, most productive way to work. So they have a slightly different way of working, and that's great. They're like, this is so good that when our work is done, everyone will know this is the way to do it. So there's your vision. The mission, how are we going to get there? As it says in the title, that we'll get organized around our brand, enable us to grow. So again, your mission will be how you're going to achieve your vision. And you might have some little sub missions in there as well. So here we come to the values. Now it's really important. These don't come out of anyone's head. They're not aspirations. A lot of people without values think, oh yeah, we're all these amazing people. It's like, no, we structure our interviews very cleverly. The questions are very deliberately written. And until you've answered them, you won't know why that is. But the point is, we get the true values of the business. Now, whatever they are. In this case, you know, it came out that the guys in the team were really driven by results. They wanted their clients to be totally safe. Great. They were also really hungry, like very unusual, but you'd meet a team of people who did their job all day, went home, had a cup of tea and had their dinner, and then did some more finding out how to make cybersecurity better. So really, really hungry, really technically supreme, and they work in a very collaborative way. So again, your values will be different, but the values are really important, obviously, because they form the bedrock of a lot of what follows. So we have the values. Again, not everyone has a mantra. So this company, they wanted a mantra because that's something they wanted on the wall of the office, and the office is where they go with their clients. They put it all up. We're experts, we're excited to lead the way. We want to share. So remember, that goes back to that collaborative value. The excited goes back to the, well, it doesn't go back to value, but it's, you know, leading the way. So it's, again, collaborative. And they put all this in so that people they work with know that they're not responsive. They are actually, because they're experts coming in across the top. So the team needs to follow their lead because they're really good at what they do. So now we're building a strategy. Now this is a really nice simplification of how you get a strategy into a business. You find out what you uniquely deliver. You find out what the gap in the market is, and you find out what people want. And what you want to be doing is delivering something that people want. That's your service truth is delivering. Customer insights, what people want, and there's a gap in the market for you. And we work quite hard to make sure we really hone that, to put you in a clear space on your own. And in that clear space comes something called a brand promise, which is a phrase you might have heard bandied around. And the way to look at a brand promise is, if I could put a cookie, like a computer cookie, in the head of everyone who comes across our brand, what would that cookie say? That is what the brand promise is. So for these guys, look, customer insight was that chief information security officers just want peace of mind. They want to sleep at night knowing they're not going to wake up and find that they've been cyber attacked and the business is down and it's, you know, a huge catastrophe. So simple insight. Market gap. These guys are quite a small company. There are some very, very big players in their market that you would have heard of. The big accountancy firms all come in there and whatever it is. But it's like, no, what the market needs, we're small enough to be a real pleasure to deal with, but we're also got a ton of technical expertise to cope with whatever you need. So we found their market gap, we found the consumer insight, and now the service truth is that their one is an approach that delivers results. It's that small business for them, it's their technical expertise. Remember, going back to the values, they have this shift left earlier intervention thing, and they work in an embedded way. So they've got a really strong truth about their service that sets them apart from the others. So then from there, we can go back to our strategy doc. We've got the service truth, we've got the market gap. So their brand promise is that we will lead your team to safer ground. So that's the cookie. When a chief information security officer goes to one of their talks, reads one of their blogs, sees an interview with their leader or one of their leaders, he or she will know that these guys are going to lead my team, and they're going to take them to a place where they're making safe computer assets, online assets. There we go. So only continuing. So there's their promise. So it produces secure applications. Again, not all brand books have this, but if you want to plot a brand position, you would, generally speaking, find some axes where, in this case, we've got expertise on the, is that the X? No, it's the Y, isn't it? Y vertical axis, expertise. X-axis, we've got very rigid, big bureaucracy companies, and on the right, collaboration. So the idea being, what you want to do is end up on your own somewhere on this chart, and then you have a clear brand position away from everyone else. The client here ended up here top right. A lot of their competition, as you can see by the size of these boxes, were either very rigid but had high expertise, or very rigid and had low expertise, which is a pretty bad place to be. So these guys were like, no, we have highly collaborative and high expertise. So there's the brand position. We're an international security app consultancy, and that just gives them that little line. Might be with their logo, may not, but it's like that is a useful, as distinct from the promise. That's a little positioning piece, so that, again, anyone who knows them knows where they sit. And if it's not for you, you want a rigid firm, great. Not for us. Gives really, really easy way to do fit for clients. Now, after we've got those two key foundations, what we want to do is to make this document really useful is end up with some real messages that we can just go back to time and time again. If the chairman's rushing out for an interview, he can just refresh him or herself. What are our key messages again? Oh yeah, one of them's around expertise. So our leader is a thought leader. Our business is blowing up. It's all we do. Top talent migrates to us. So that's all those support points, the supporting expertise. As I say, in that interview, that person could say, well, actually, and someone might say, well, how do you know you're good? It's like, well, actually, all the talent wants to work for us in the sector. So even if you're not in our world, we can point to the fact that, the top people from the MOD, GCHQ, they love to come to us because they know we're great and they're really good at it. So messages. Again, another message is around being human, not bureaucracy. And again, 4 support points that back that up. We've got another message here. We're collaborators. Again, 4 support points that back that up. And finally, number 4, we are results focused. And remember, messaging can be really good for things like social media. So if you want to plan your diary, you might want to have, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, post on each brand pillar, each messaging point at that time would be great. So, and that's really where it goes. We've got a tone of voice piece in here as well. So we make sure that we try and make a coherent, cohesive kind of tone of voice across everything they do. We don't get too fussy on these, because there's clearly a difference. The way you write on your homepage of your website compared to a blog, which is a chatty interview with a couple of the team, is a different tone. So there's flexibility. Again, tone of image, that's quite an important one. Avoid stock shots because they're by definition not authentic to you. Get some photography done. And in these guys' case, they needed to stand out with their look and feel, because everything else they do is quite unique. So it needs to be unique to them. And here's another interesting thing that we're seeing a bit more of now, is having a slightly sub-brand as your employer brand. If you're struggling to recruit people, then it's really important to think about the impression you give, not just to potential clients, but to potential employees. And I think that's it. And there's a tactical piece in there, 2021, which we cannot show you. And again, a summary page here. Some people do, some people don't, but I think that's a really nice thing to do if you can. Again, if you're going to put this on the wall, messaging themes, thought leadership, human, collaborative, results, great, values, results, learning, technical skill, collaboration. So you can see how the values and message theme are very tight in this case, great. And there's their mantra summarized there. So I hope that's been a really useful, quick run through of a brand book. And if you've got any questions, you want to reach out and talk to myself or anyone on the team, we can explain how that may or may not be useful for your business. In fact, I can't think of a business it wouldn't be useful for, but there you go. Maybe there is a first. All right, thank you.